Welcome to this week's First Impressions video. Today we're looking at Ayasa Shadows of Silence. This is a really interesting side-scrolling platformer, and this is the demo. The full game is set to release on the 20th of April 2025. I have had a very beautiful and very frustrating time with this game, as I'm not very good at platformers. However, the puzzles and the way that the game tells the story is actually kind of incredible. As always, we will look at the settings first, and then we'll jump straight into some gameplay to show you what I like and what I don't like about the game. The settings menu, considering how beautiful and how quite graphically intense this game is very simple, and I'm hoping that on full release it actually expands on that to allow you to really customize the experience to your fullest desire. Quality settings for me was actually started on low, so I had to up it to high, but it does run incredibly smooth with very little issues, although I did have one crash whilst testing. All the game volume is set up to maximum, as well as the music and sound volume, although to be honest it's not that loud of a game, and it's got a really nice ambient soundtrack in the background that really adds to the atmosphere of this experience, if you will. You can change your language. You can change the type of gamepad you use between the PS5 or the Xbox One. I will, however, say that using a controller is probably not going to be wise on this, for the pure and simple reason that it's a 2.5D side-scrolling platformer, and if you go at an angle, or run at an angle, or jump at an angle, you will miss the platform that you're trying to get. And I did struggle whilst using a controller to actually get it to line up right, because the analog obviously gives you that 360-degree movement. It is actually therefore much easier using a keyboard and mouse than it is using a gamepad. On controller setup, you can't actually rebind your keys, but you can look at what those keys are. You've got your keyboard and mouse, you've got your DualSense for the PS5, and you've got the Xbox for the Xbox Series X or Xbox One. Interestingly enough, when I was playing the tutorial, it got muddled up here with the buttons. It kept telling me to press X to jump, which is what you would press for the DualSense, even though I'm using an Xbox controller, and it kind of confused me a little bit until I realized it was just labeled wrong. Outside of that, the controller does work exceptionally well. It's just obviously moving and jumping on a side-scrolling 2.5D platformer is less than ideal. But that's your options. They're not amazing, they're not overly detailed, but they are functional, and they do allow you to experience the game to its full capacity. When you start the demo, it gives you this really interesting sort of introduction. It shows you a very beautiful world with very high graphic fidelity for the cutscenes. However, it then goes in and shows you this really derelict world, which apparently suffered from a nuclear disaster. As a result, you are left in this barren world, and you have to work your way through it to, I'm assuming, getting somewhere safe and somewhere cozy, and maybe possibly changing the future for the better. We don't know. I haven't got that far, and this is just a demo. Once you're in the game, you have to go through this tutorial scene. One thing I did find really annoying about this is that every time you die, it makes you do this bit again, and you can't skip this opening animation. Once you get past this bit, however, it is a lot easier. It just starts you at a checkpoint. There are a lot of checkpoints to go through, which is, again, a really, really good thing. But I would like to skip some of these cutscenes that you go through, because it can make things a little bit tedious. Like I say, you have to hold the buttons and run if you are using your controller. And as you can see, it's very hard to run in a straight line when you are running for your life. As a result, you can and will fall off. This is why I say to use your keyboard and mouse, because it's just easier to do straight lines if you are running with a keyboard and mouse which only has 4 directional moving. Again, we go through this, and you go through this animation, which does kind of drag on after a while, especially when I was using my controller and kept dying more times than I'd care to admit. Other than that, it's very functional. You can jump, you can do all of the things that you need to do, and you can run and jump out the way. I don't know what the purpose of these sort of glowing arms are, outside of the fact that they are there to try and capture you. And you get certain scenes where these come up quite a lot. The world itself is very encapturing. It very much feels very desolate, very apocalyptic. It doesn't feel like a safe place to be. One thing I will say is that they've done the sound very good as well. I've got a really good set of headset, and as a result, the 7.1 surround really comes into play with this. When you're moving certain objects or you're going in a certain direction, you can hear that sound behind you. It does lead to feeling very tense and very on edge as a result. I think this game has a lot of potential. I really enjoyed myself playing with it, but like I said, I was getting very frustrated, and sometimes some of the things that you have to do are not really all that... They're not all that well laid out, to be honest, right? Also, some of the button pushes where you've got to push and stuff aren't the greatest with mouse and keyboard, and definitely are easier to do with a controller. It's kind of weird. Like some aspects of the controller are fantastic for this game. Some aspects are absolutely horrendous, and it's the exact same or opposite, if you like, with the keyboard and mouse. If you like your side-scrolling platformers, I think you're really going to enjoy this game. If you like a very mysterious and very beautiful and artistic way of sharing a story, you're going to really like this game. There are secrets to find, and you can explore the world just a little bit as well. I haven't really found much that you can do when you walk around. Like, there's not a huge amount here. There's no actual collectible. But it's nice that you can explore that world and climb up and try and see what you can find. I think they've done a really good job with this game. I think that, again, when it releases next month, it is one that I'm going to want to try and beat just to see exactly what the story is. I want to see what these monsters are. I want to see if it gives us some history as to why the world has ended up this way. And I want to see if we can change it. And there you have it. That is Ayasa Shadows in Silence. It is a very beautiful game. I don't know how much it's going to be on Steam, but you can play the demo right now. You can see for yourself whether it's a game that you would like to try. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Ciao, ciao.